Good morning again. I was just thinking again, just praying, trying to make sense about my world. And in this conversation, I was thinking about taxation and what money is about. What is money? And I'm thinking, money is man-made. It's a man-made concept. It's not a natural concept. It's not a natural system, the monetary system. And but it enslaves us. Money is slavery. The slave master. It controls everything in what they call civilization. You have a foreign entity that formed this civilization, and they make it sound sophisticated. Civilization is a slave system. Yes, it has its technologies, all that, yes, but it's designed to enslave you. Yes. What do you mean that it's designed to enslave you? Well, what happens is you get a bunch of people in this civilization. It's like an urban center, and then you have its suburbs, and then they get you dependent. Now, we used to live in a natural society. We were connected to the earth. We're connected to the land that we're part of. We lived in communities. We lived in harmony. And yes, there were private fightings too. But not like now. But now with the civilization started from some higher being. When I say higher, I don't mean that they're better than you, but they have technologies that surpass yours. They exploited your natural needs. They force you to move off the farm, the land, and force you to live in these condensed communities called urban centers. And then they create a system that perpetuates itself in this system. It's stressful, so the stress gets you angry and anxious and edgy. And again, if you get too edgy and commit a crime, because the unnatural living conditions, people are like sardines. They throw you in jail, and once you get in jail, you become a slave. They can use your labor and not pay you. And then you have its institutions, school systems. School system is a brainwashing for you to live in that civilization. Because, language, at one point, you had to speak the language of that institution. And in the U.S. it was English. And at times you had what they call the bilingual. Even before you had a large Hispanic community in the Northeast, you had other immigrants from Europe. And at one time, Norwegian was the new minority group. And they wanted to know which language to conduct the class in New York City. Many of them moved to Brooklyn. And it was an issue. So now, like, you have schools, they teach you their history, a history that, that is just you. We revolve around the sun. And at one time that the sun used to revolve around the earth. According to what they want you to believe. So each belief system has a mindset behind it. And they want you to act according to that belief system. At one time they were saying, well, if you're a particular race, if you're black, that you had low IQs and we don't have to treat you nicely. See, it's this civilization which really attached itself to this European mindset, these Europeans. But at one time Europe was just like any other country on this planet. But you had these groups over in that continent or around that continent, what they call the Middle East, and they migrated up into Europe, the controllers. You have Europeans, you have other groups, Asians and African, but you have this component. And they grafted onto the indigenous populations across this planet. They started civilization. This civilization is a type of slavery. It's a created system of the gerbil on the wheel, turning the wheel. You don't really get anywhere as an individual, but you're doing for the sake of doing, but somebody is benefiting from it. That's why it's being done. Someone is benefiting over your labor. And then you're forcing this society. You have to rely on someone else to get your food, called supermarkets. And they're putting stuff in our foods that make you sick. Well, if you're sick, then you have hospital. Oh, is that nice? You have a hospital in this civilization. Isn't that nice? Isn't this modern? Isn't this civilized? But what happens at the doctor? Well, they treat you with this so-called medicine and make you sick. So it's a system, and then you gotta pay and pay, keep paying people who don't make you well many times, and you have to pay money for something that really doesn't work. And then again, the school system is really an interest to me. I was thinking just a moment ago, before I turned on this recorder, that you have, you ever wonder why in these new cities, city like New York City and its surrounding states, why they're allowing so many illegals? Now, I'm not saying this to sound what they call xenophobic or a racist or bigot. What I'm getting at is motive. See, go beyond what you see of this migration into the United States and other parts of the world too. It's all over. It's global. But it's a shift in this population. But the new shift of population are people from poor regions of the world, and they have a lot of children primarily in relationship to the older population group. And so why are they allowing these new immigrants in, and this new they have more of the children, and they're going to outnumber the people that are, the residents there that are born and raised there. And this is by design. But look, with the system, with civilization and who really controls it, why would they do that? Well, remember, you have to pay taxes. And I do not own a home, but I have relatives who does have a home. They own the house and the land on it. And they told me that they have to pay taxes. I said, okay, I've heard of taxes before. Yeah, we all have heard taxes. Well, one thing, if you're not a homeowner, you probably may not have heard about this tax. If you're not a homeowner, you have to pay school tax. Yes. You have to pay taxes for the schools, even if you don't have kids. Believe it or not. You have to pay for somebody else's kid for a school system that's not really teaching your kid. And so when you have all this new immigration of children and masses of children all cramped into these urban settings, well, you got to increase the taxes. So that's why they're allowing them in. And so they're sucking out your resources. Again, the whole thing is it's a slave system. But like the whites have to pay taxes too. But there's a lot of tax shelters, and so it's the middle class and the poor that pay proportionately more tax money. But now with this surge of new immigration from nations around us that traditionally have more children, you have to pay now money to keep these for the school system. So the school teachers, now if it was really a fear about this immigration and illegal aliens, wouldn't they, from the school level, from the teacher level, to find out what kid is illegal or whose parents are here illegal, right? But they're not doing that because they want them to stay in, because again, each kid represents money. So it's not about a love of these people, it's about the love of money. And when they come into your community, they have to increase the taxes so that they can, for each kid. And so it perpetuates, so the school teacher gets his or her cut. They get the money from the taxes to pay their salary. So they're not going to say no. They're not going to say no. They're not going to out them. So they're bringing them more and more in. And then a lot of these kids might be troubled because maybe there's a language barrier, and they start acting out of school. Well, in the United States, we have what's called the special ed program. What is the special ed program? Well, it's a program, all right, that has these kids cramped in the special ed class. They got a lot of kids in there. They have behavior problems, and then now they're forcing these kids to take Ritalin, which destroys their system. It's destroying their mind. So okay, yeah, let's let all these illegals in. Let's cram in these special ed classes because they have behavioral problems, because they don't know how to communicate, some of them. Or even the American kids too, especially the Black American kids. They live in nearby communities, and their schools are cramped because now they have to share their seat with people from other parts of the world. They may not speak your language. You get strife. There's not enough books to share, and so there's no education. It's like a prison, and it's designed just to do that. That's how they collect money. They collect your money by the number of heads. Each head represents money, and so it's taxed. You have to pay school tax, And then you have to pay real estate tax, the just to have the property. You gotta pay it. And you're supporting people that's not supporting you. And you're caught up because you think, oh, you're being a racist. Oh, you're prejudiced, you're xenophobic. No. People are using others to destroy you and you don't even realize it. It's about motive I'm talking about. I'm pro-immigration, but just know about modern day immigration, what it's being used for. It's used to oppress, to program your thinking, your educate. They're not going to educate these kids to become doctors, scientists. They're using them for military. Why is it that people of color from the America, at least in the United States, why are black people and the surrounding nations around us, why are they becoming more by percentage wise being overrepresented in the military or in the jails and prisons? It is to control the status quo of those people who are in charge of what we call civilization. Civilization is not a natural system. It is an artificial system like AI. AI is an artificial intelligence, and that's creeping in, and it's going to be our demise. So, yes, sometimes things happen and people react, but people may not be reacting for the reasons why. It's not about xenophobia. It's about motive. And the motive is to destroy you and to get native peoples against other native peoples, to fight other people's wars. Even in the Middle East, there's a population that's you don't really see. See, the Middle East is filled with black people, but it's hidden. It's a hidden secret, and they're used as slaves. They're used for war, to be soldiers. And they're not being used so that when they come back from war so they can get their own home and land. No. These are the poor of the poor that are being abused and being used and being destroyed. They're using indigenous people as soldiers of war. And when you come back, look in the United States. Who do you see on the street? Many of them are indigenous peoples of the world, the black people in particular, homeless. So here we're forced to fight other people's war around the world, but you don't reap the spoils of the war. Shouldn't every soldier, military person, if you're required to fight, shouldn't you get the spoils of the war, the shares of the war? You get nothing. And that I have a problem with. When you see them on the street, out of their minds, we are fighting other people's war, and that's what I'm sad about. If you want to join because you want to join, that's fine. But it's what's happening. They're creating a social environment to make you go into the military. Like I knew these people from Hawaii, this Hawaiian man, he said to his children, either you serve in the military or go to school. And so some of the women went, and some of the men went, but it seemed like the men who go in, these native men that go in, sometimes it's a problem. It was a problem. And you're fighting somebody else's war, even the Hawaiians. They're nice people. But they're in a system that's not natural. And they're being infected emotionally. Their health. Yes, I lived there in Hawaii for a couple of years. The health of the native Hawaiian is awful. They serve proudly in the military. Other Pacific Islanders, they serve proudly. But man, when they come home, there's a problem upstairs in their head. It's a problem. I'm sad about this. It's a world being formed, and they're using indigenous peoples that are trapped in what's called civilization, an unnatural social system, paying and promoting these massive immigrations without assimilation. You gotta have assimilation, but it's not. And that's by design, to cause fighting, chaos, so they can come in and put in more laws of controls over you. And they get us through money. To live in civilization requires you to have money, currency, and if you don't have it, you don't have a place to live. Who owns the buildings? Who owns the buildings? I know not a lot of people like me. No, I did have a relative who owned a building, and they had one or two buildings. But you have people who have multitude of buildings. They have buildings that are managed. What do you call it? Where they have businesses and residential. They have both, and they own, and I guess they own the land too on it. But it's not the indigenous people who own it. Even in Hawaii, the indigenous people primarily don't own the properties. They do have a movement called the homesteads. So they have this one little area where in Maui where I lived, called the homestead. You have to be Native American, at least I think 1/4 Native American. I am Native Hawaiian, at least 1/4 I think, or half, at least, to live there. But I tell you this, it's not prime real estate. The land, the soil, it's the bad soil. It's real sandy and a lot of ants, and it's eating away the wood. It's awful, man. They look dangerous. But you look where the non-Hawaiians live, aka the European. They live in beautiful homes, beautiful structures. Look safe. So you see, that's what I'm getting at. Civilization is the enemy of the native. Whether you're Native Hawaiian, whether you're Native African, whether you're Native American, whether you're a Pacific Islander native. You hear what I'm getting at? Civilization is against you. And they introduced a monetary system for you to survive, to live in this so-called privileged civilization. At first I thought civilization is about being educated and elevated, and that's an illusion. There's no elevation. It's no elevation. Look what happened. Look what's happened in Europe. It's coming down. America is going down. They're forcing these people as a means to then lock you in that new civilization and then watch you fight. See, when you're fighting for position, and this is going to make you want to work more to do things to acquire this money. And oftentimes it might be illegal activity, drug running, prostitution, all about getting the dollar. So you're trapped. And the land and stuff, the land's not yours. You have to pay tax. Why should you have to pay tax for your own land? Why? Why? It's a trap. You know, you could buy land, buy a home, pay cash for everything. If you don't pay the ransom, aka taxes, you're going to be thrown off. It's not yours. That's what I'm getting at. It's no freedom. This is a jail that we're locked in. And again, if you slip, if you don't pay, if you're a homeowner, you're on the street if you don't pay taxes. So many people rent. And you're paying the landlord. Hear that? The Lord, they call lords, the Lord of the land. So it's like a worship. I was in a situation that happened a couple of days ago. I pay my rent, and the program in this rental, you have to recertify once a year. And I get a notice threatening me to evict me if I don't recertify. And it's over a month, just 2 months for recertification. So it's going to your head. See why I think it bothered me so much with that letter is that the person is trying to say, I don't want you to feel that I want you to remember that you really are the slave. Yes, you pay rent, you're a good tenant, but I want to rub it in and remind you that I'm master and you're the slave. So I'm just a reminder. And that's why it bothered me so much. It was intent. Wasn't it anything against, recertification? I just got the documents. But see, so what I'm getting at that you could be the perfect tenant, you could be the perfect homeowner. You pay your taxes when due, you do all that, but then they want to remind you that you're still a slave. They're going to do something and throw a monkey wrench at you. Yep. They're going to do it. And if you don't pay that tax, they're going to throw you. They're going to penalize you. They're going to have penalty fees. It's like a mafia, isn't that? Isn't that what you call organized crime? Isn't that what they do? Hey, so and so, you're gonna start a business, and you better do it, or we'll kill you. We'll do this to that to you. We'll harm your children. You better do what I say. So again, It's a type of slavery. What is a slave? A slave is someone that's doing the will of somebody else. It's not anything to do with chains. That's what they made you think. That's what they made me think. No. Slavery is about control and controlling other people's destiny. They're pushing our destiny as a nation and globally to a foreign entity. Yeah, there are foreigners out there that are controlling this planet and your way of life. I do believe that there are beings from other planets, other dimensions, and they're watching over us. We're getting technologies from them, and I was told that they are taking and stealing people in exchange for technology. So we take in the new technology, and then they send out people to be used as slaves. It's awful. Somehow I want to learn about this, how to stop this money, how to get out of this matrix, this money matrix, the money of slavery, how to get out. I want to be able to live where I want to live. I want to be able to say, this is mine. If I don't feel like getting up out of bed, I don't feel like getting up. If I want to do gardening, do gardening. If I want to go meet a neighbor and talk to a neighbor, I want to meet a neighbor. But I don't want to feel that I have to pay a ransom. Just like what they call the Crusades. The Crusades was a ransom. They say, hey, you don't go on your on your, what do you call it when you go, what's that, a Hajj? You don't go to a Hajj, you're not saved, you go to hell. Oh, okay, you go to the Hajj, or you gotta pay money to get in. So it's, again, a bondage. I ask this with my higher self. Please teach me how to get out of the matrix, this money matrix, where I can live in true freedom, just like the birds in the air in comparison. They don't have to go to school like we do. They just live off the nature. They respect nature, and nature respects us back. Help us all get in tune with Mother Nature, Father Nature. You need both, Mother and the Father, that we live in harmony, and to throw out civilization. Civilization is a foreign culture. It's not ours. It's a culture of slavery and dependency. While Mother Nature and Father Nature, when in harmony, it's about life. So I thank you for listening, and feel free to comment below, to share this video with friends, family members, to subscribe to my channel, to like. And those of you who like the content of my video, and this is going to be an audio video primarily, you may wish to donate to this channel in support. You can PayPal me, and the icon, the PayPal me icon is located on my banner. That it's a link, and you can press on that link to my PayPal me account, and to give what is of your heart, what you could afford. And I thank you in advance. So take care, guys. and enjoy freedom at any cost. Bye-bye.